Today is August 30th, 2023, and this meeting's for our LJ Realtors. And we're going to go through what's going on in the market, how the interest rates, and we have a few topics for you guys to learn. Okay, so let's get started with the interest rates. Okay, so according to Freddie Mac, as of last week, the interest rates were averaging 7.23 for one family with good credit scores. Um, and putting down 20% down payment, conforming loans, they were averaging around 7.23. But this was done on weekly basis. On Mortgage News Daily, they do on daily basis. It has in their names, so it's a little bit more accurate. And you can see that the prices or the interest rates did come down a little bit. 7.12 was the average. So some of you guys already had some files for your clients that were under contract and they were about to close, but people are still not locking in. We had at least 4 or 5 different files that was in that scenario. So last week we saw it was hitting close to 7.49. So it did come down. So I highly recommend that you speak to your loan officer, or if you have your clients, have them speak to the loan officer and tell them, hey, the interest rates did come down compared to last week. See if they want to lock in and move forward. Okay. Sometime they might say, hey, I want to wait another week. That next week we don't know if it's going to go up or down. Since it came down from previous week, you should take some action if you really want to close your deal. Okay? So same thing goes for your clients. So what happens when your interest rates are 7.12? What does your monthly payment look like? If your household income is around $120,000 and you have a down payment of $70,000, your savings is $70,000, and your monthly debt is around 250, which is the average that we see here, and your property tax is around $5,000 and property insurance 1,500 per year. So with these specs, you're looking at affordability wise, you're looking at a house that's going to be around 600 to $620,000, and your monthly mortgage payment is going to be around $4,200. Okay, so interest rates make a huge difference. So you guys have to feel the same for your clients as well. The same house that they were looking at before for $620,000, this payment was lower than 4,200. Okay. These are some of the headlines from the news as of last week. Your dreams of affordability crushed as rates rise again, as we saw that when the interest rates increase, your affordability decreases. Okay. And how the housing market is affected by inflation? It's affected directly with the mortgage interest rates, right? When the inflation goes higher, the government tightens, their market, and they want to base. Yeah, sure, Shirley, we'll talk. Yeah, um, but they want to make sure that they can control the inflation and the interest rates go higher, right? The government is simply trying to control the inflation. So our mortgage interest rates do get hit on a daily basis with that. Okay. And you can see that the data released today shows that annual prices gains are stagnant, right? They're not moving up or down in majority of the time, but in the short run is heating up a little bit month over month. So you guys can see this chart here that they're the prices increasing. Even if they're increasing 1%, 2%, we're okay with that. Even if they drop 1%, 2% in the price wise, it's perfectly fine. Realtors don't have a problem with the price because we have enough tools to convince the listing agent or the seller that hey, the price should be this, unless they're getting a lot of offers. Okay. So you guys are a realtor. Every time you're showing a house, especially if you're doing in this business for quite some time, you can see the prices. They inch up a little bit. They don't go down much. But when you're putting an offer, use your tools that you have: Geodata, RPR, do the comps on on MLS.com or MLS Stratus, and have those present those with your offer. If you have to negotiate, as a realtor, your biggest part is to negotiate. What else you're bringing the value for your client, right? You have to tell them, hey, I'm going to help you save some money by negotiating. We mentioned that in our other meeting, that it's just not the price, it's a lot more to that. But when we are putting an offer, your price is your number one concern. That's your number one concern for your client too. So do the comps, put in an offer. If you need any second opinion, if you need any help, just talk to me. Hey, this is the address. I'm about to put an offer for 620. Do you think it's good? I can take a look at it and guide you guys accordingly. Okay? But put in your offer accordingly every time. These are some indexes for your confidence. So you had in July of 2023, there were around 30% first time home buyers. They are dropping a little bit because of the high mortgage interest rates. The cash deals, these are your investors. They make up around 26%. Okay. And if you're the listing agent, how many offers should you receive for your property? At least three, right? You should have at least three, and that's the average that they're seeing. Three offers were more for most recent sales. So if you're a listing agent, if you're not getting your three offers for your property, host more open houses. That's the key, right? You're spending a lot of time, maybe an hour or two at every open house, and we just need one client out of that. So you want to make sure that you can actually host the open house. For some reason, if you're the listing agent and you don't or you cannot make to the open houses, assign it to one of these agents and tell them, hey, I'm going to pay you $200, $500, or a percentage if you help me host the open house. Right? You don't have to be part of that team or anything like that. If you have an agreement with your listing agent, you can host those open houses. Okay. But if you're the listing agent, your first approach should be let me host the open house much as possible. If you need a hand, ask for help. Okay. 35% of the property sold above the list price, right? 35. In COVID time, we were seeing this percentage a lot higher. But then again, even 35 is good enough for these sellers. The sellers are getting paid as soon as they decide to list their property in the market, and you as a realtor are hosting open houses, showing it to enough clients, and you would should have more than three offers, so your seller can actually select it and move forward. Okay. And let's look at some stats for, let's compare them to Brooklyn when it comes to price. We have Brooklyn, Queens, and Bronx, right? So first, let's look at the average listing price. So average listing price in Brooklyn was around 1.282, right? Over 1.2. And then the selling price was around, you can say around $60,000 less, right? So 1.213. In Queens here, we had an average listing price of $1 million and average sold price around 950. Okay, around, again, whatever the list price is, around $70,000 below the average list price. How about Bronx here? Bronx average list price was 754 and average selling price was 723. So Bronx had the least amount of difference between the original list price and the selling price. Again, when you are a listing agent, when you're talking to these clients, majority of the sellers will simply tell you, hey, list it on the highest end, maybe 1.82. But when they're actually selling it, the market will speak, right? You're a listing agent, you're going to be hosting open houses, try to get much leads as possible, try to get much offers as possible. But the market would actually speak. If you receive three offers and all of them are around 1.213, most likely the seller will get an idea, hey, that's what the market is saying, and they will just simply select one of the offers. If you're not getting any offers for your property, you have to adjust the price. Okay, you don't want to adjust it every single week, but you want to make some adjustments if you're not selling it. Some of these listing agents, just to get that listing, they will say, hey, you want $1 million, I'll try to get you $1 million. Realistically, when they did the comps, maybe it was worth 920, 930, right? So be realistic with your sellers when you're putting it on the market. But if you have a listings and you want to show it and you need some help, ask for help. Okay. All right, guys. Do you guys know about what is a zombie foreclosures? Right? As a realtors, we should know what zombie foreclosures mean and what they are. They are on the rise right now. So we want to tell you what it is actually a zombie foreclosure is. It is a when a bank or lender starts a foreclosure process on a borrower's home, but never goes through with the full foreclosure. So maybe they send them a notice to the seller, hey, we're going through foreclosure, and the seller or the owner simply moves out. While this is happening, the homeowner thinks that they made an assumption that hey, they will lose their house, so they have to leave that property, right? They are not aware that the property is still under their name. So the bank never went through the foreclosure, and the seller actually just moved out. Okay, now that is a zombie property because no one's living there and there's no ownership um, from the bank, and it's still listed as an owner from the previous owner that moved out. So if you see that word zombie foreclosures, you guys should know what that means. Okay. So if you have investors that's looking to flip a property, this just came on the market. I will highly recommend that you guys check it out. It looks like it's vacant, it's boarded up and everything, so probably needs full renovations or need a gut renovations. So if you have an investor, I highly recommend that you show them this property. It's in Hempstead, 110 Dirt Mouth Street in Hempstead, listed for 210. And don't expect the property to sell at 210. Okay, these listing agents will put a property on the market for this price. You be the judge or your investor be the judge. You just show them the property, see how much your works and needs, and then put the offer accordingly. Okay, it clearly says this is a sold as is, cash only. Maybe it has some things that the banks will not allow to have a FHA or conventional loan. Maybe it's not in that stage. Okay, so investor would not mind putting in the money here and actually building it again and then reselling it for the market price. Okay, so if you have an investor, show them this property and then go from there. Okay. So these are some of the properties that we have available on our from our office. So some of you guys do check out these listings, some of you guys don't. So on these meetings, we want to, throw in maybe a few listings that's available. We encourage yourself to look at the property for yourself, right? One, and second is that look for your clients. If your client wants to see this property, show them this too. So but when you just see it on paper and when you actually go see it, makes a huge difference, especially if you're a brand new agent. You want to look at all our in-house listings, right? Those are availability, those are properties that's available, and you want to be able to show them to your clients. So first, go take a look at these properties. If you want to contact these agents here, you can. So there's one from Rapinder here, listed for 949. It's at 10153 114th Street in Jamaica. Two family, five beds, three baths. Okay. She also has one for rental here for $2,600, three beds, one and a half bathrooms, and that's on Linden Boulevard. And we have one property in Long Island in Hempstead, listed by Servjeet here, our agent Saab, listed for 899. This is a price drop, so we highly encourage that you actually go take a look at the property and then show it to your clients as well. Okay, this way you get to meet the listing agent as well, like and actually feel out what the property is, and just give them um, honest feedback there from your agency. So if you feel like, hey, 899 is too high, tell them the reason. Hey, there's a another property that just sold for 850. So some stuff like that. The main thing is that you want to network with these people. Then we have one property in Long Beach, and that's by Karen here. His nickname is Mickey. It's listed for 899 as well. Two family, eight beds, four baths. Okay. Same exact thing. Take a look at the property and then show it to your clients. We have one property in Bronx here, listed by Miranda, and it's one family, three beds, one and a half baths, listed for 695. Okay. And then we have one last property here in Leviton, listed by Lovejeet, right? He's one of our agents here. Brand new construction. It was a small house. They knocked it down completely, and they're building a brand new house on that. Okay, brand new construction, five bedrooms, three and a half bathrooms. Really, it's going to be a luxury property. So even if you don't have any clients, show yourself this. Make an appointment with Lovejeet and see what the condition is right now, what stages it is, the properties in now, and see if you can, down the line, maybe in a month or so, if you have someone that's looking for new construction, you can guide them to this property. Okay, so these are the properties that we do have available. If you want to, that's a good question, Shirley. You want to see them on MLS, right? Once you're logged into Stratus, you can go to My Listings or Office Listings. Okay, I'll have a screenshot or a small walkthrough in the next meeting here, but you can see all our availability, all the properties that's available from our agents on Stratus. Okay. Again, some of you guys are getting into commercial, which is great. You want to be a commercial listing agent or buyer's agent. What you want to get do is make sure that you know of LoopNet, right? LoopNet is a website that has all the properties that you need for the commercial side. Okay, they have for lease, to rent, or for sale. So if you have a client that's looking for a commercial place, your number one go-to website should be loopnet.com. Just type in the area that you want to see the properties in, and then sort it by the newest. And then you'll see the latest properties on the left side, on the right side here. Okay. Again, anytime you have a commercial property or if you see a listing like this, first go see it yourself, then make some notes on it, then have your, especially your, commercial side, buyers, they're really educated on their field. They know exactly what they want to be and what type of business they have, or let's say they're looking for a warehouse or whatnot. They already have those specs. So before you take them, go look at the property yourself and then make an appointment with them. Okay, the website is loopnet.com. Okay. Some of you guys on weekly basis do ask us that, hey, could I call through RedX? The answer is no, right? If you're asking us, we're gonna follow the rules, and the rule says, hey, you cannot call. Call calling is still prohibited, right? There's few reasons for this. There's a state of emergency in New York, and there's few of them that's going on, and these screenshots are from August 15th. Okay, so if you want to, if you want to just call the legal hotline and just find out when they should stop this or whatnot, here's the number, 518 number here. Okay, but from the broker side, we simply can't tell you guys, hey, do cold calling when it's not legal, so please don't. Okay, some of you guys new agents want to be, learn a lot of stuff from these meetings, what we have to offer, but there's some designations and certifications that you can get from NAR, right? These will help you talk to your sellers and buyers, and they have over 10 or 12 different programs to go through to be certified for. But the top two that I highly recommend that every agent should take are these two. One is called SRS and one is called ABR. So your SRS is going to be your seller's representative specialist. So it's going to go through ins and outs for the seller side. You want to be a listing agent, how you going to talk to them, how, what do you have to present, everything that, how you're going to do comps. So everything that you need to be to learn about the listing side will be in this course here. Okay. And obviously, we all start off at a buyer's agent. So I highly recommend that you take the ABR, which is accredited buyer's representative, right? And it will tell you how you're going to talk to the home buyers, what programs to offer them, how you're going to guide them. We have our own presentation, but from these programs, you will learn. Simple as that. Even if you learn a thing or two, you're going to learn. Okay. So I highly recommend that you guys check these out. There's a website that we have on the bottom here, but if you just Google, NAR designations or certifications, or just SRS, you'll find these links. Okay, these are educational stuff. This it can never harm you, right? You can only learn from this. But some of you guys expect to be an expert from just one course. It just doesn't happen. So you might get a thing or two, from this course, a thing or two from the other course, and that will make you an expert. Okay. So please do take these, if you haven't yet. And there's more of it. The third one I would recommend, someone asked, was for commercial side. Yes, they have that for commercial, but I highly recommend that you take these two first and then take the commercial one. Okay. All right, guys. So next, we are having issues with one of our deal where the earnest deposit is in jeopardy, right? So we want to go through that so we all can learn from this. How secure is the earnest deposit, right? First of all, what is the earnest deposit? It's going to be the money that your client is putting down on the contract to make sure that they're serious about this transaction. They don't want to just sign the contract and then poof, they're gone. What they have in stake is the money that they put down, right? So that money is being held in the escrow account, but few things have to happen. The person can lose that money. So you should have a conversation with your client that, hey, that money that you're putting down as earnest deposit can be jeopardized if you forfeit, right? What does forfeit means? It's like if you decide to just back out of the transaction, a month has gone by, then all of a sudden you say, hey, as a buyer, no, I don't want to move it forward with this transaction. My wife actually doesn't want to move to that area, or my friends are not in that area. If you don't have a valid reason, you can lose some or all of that money, really depending on the other attorney, the seller's attorney. Okay. But your money can be secure. Let's say there were contingency in there, right? There was a contingency for the mortgage that you have as a buyer. You have 30 days to get a commitment letter from the bank. Now, let's say you were processing your application and you lost your job, and the bank says, no, we can't give you a commitment letter. You don't qualify. Then, you can cancel that contract and get your money back. Okay. If there's a home appraisal contingency in there, right? The appraisal was not met. That contingency was never met. So you put in an offer for $600,000. You got on the contract under $600,000, but your bank says no, is worth $500,000. Now you don't have that $100,000 to come up with. You simply can cancel that deal. So when you're talking to your clients, especially if you're putting in an offer on the higher end and you know it, your comps are showing for $600,000 and you're putting for 625, you better have a conversation with your clients. Otherwise, it's going to come back and haunt you. Okay. The attorney will definitely have these conversations, but you want to get these conversations started when you're putting in the offer. Okay. And how much money should I put down on the contract? For a single family, $10,000 is more than enough, right? Unless your client, wants to put more for whatever reason. When you're putting in an offer, $10,000 for a single family or $20,000 for multifamily. I personally feel like, that's more than enough to get the ball rolling, unless it's a higher end property and then they want more of that. But you should never go more than 5%. This is part of your negotiation. Hey, we're giving you guys $600,000. We're gonna put down $10,000 on the earnest deposit. If the listing agent says no, we need 10%, right? Like they might ask for 10%. You want to go maximum 5%, right? Your client is serious. $20,000 is more than enough to put that on the contract. Okay. Any questions on this, guys? You're going through. Can you send us yes, yes. We're gonna share all these slides with you guys by end of the day. Okay. All right, guys. So next, guys, some of you guys forget that we have a nice website called ljagent.com, and there's a link in there for tools, right? Some of you guys are expert in KV Core right now. Some of you guys are expert at Dot Loop when putting your offer. You guys are communicating through Microsoft Teams with me. Um, some of you guys on Microsoft Teams, some of you guys call the 516 number. It goes to our assistant, and then she can, transfer the call. If you want to speak to me directly, you can just call me from Microsoft Teams. Okay. Then you have your Outlook. You guys are using that really well. Some of you guys, I believe, out of 70 agents, we have about 10 of them that have not came in and set up their signatures. Where every time you're sending an email, your photos and our logos and a disclaimer is shown. It looks more professional. If you haven't set that up yet, just come to the office and our assistant can help you set that up. Okay. Almost every one of you guys are using Stratus. There's no issues there. Just know that your LIBOR MLS fees Sukman, our assistant, has emailed you guys everybody their invoices. They are due next month, so please make those payments on time, and you can use this link there. You guys are already using for comps. You're using Geodata, RPR. For your renewal license, you're using eAccess. We're not using cold calls right now, but when they are open, you can use VEDX, right? Some of you guys ask for the transfer tax, right? You can have a property and you don't know how much the transfer tax is going to be. This is the calculator, okay? Some of you guys want property details, right? For any property in New York, you can use Oasis for Queens records here. If you want Nassau records, you can use land records here. If you want to find out if a property in Nassau is in a village or not, right? A lot of clients here a lot of clients that's moving to from Queens to Nassau, their first concern is this in a village or not? Right? The reason being is that each village have a lot more restrictions, right? You can't park your commercial cars there. You can't have this. You can't have that. So some of these guys simply don't want to be in a village. So when that's the case, you can simply click on verify village. When you click on it, new tabs open up. You just type in the address and it will tell you if it's in a village or not. Okay. These are the small tools that we have for you guys. We want you guys to use them. They're for you. Okay. And now let's talk about the transfer tax calculator that we have. When you click on it, all you're doing is simply putting in the price. Let's say it's $900,000. You put in $900,000 and you're putting in your property type. Is it a condo? Is it a co-op? Is it 1 to 3 family, four or more, or commercial? And majority of the time, 99% of the time, you're going to be using 1 to 3 family. Okay. That's all you're doing. Just typing in the sale price and 1 to 3 family. And on the right side here is going to calculate your transfer tax. So the transfer tax is broken down into two pieces. There's one for New York City and there's one for New York State. Okay. So let's talk about New York State first, your NYS. That is the rate is 0.4%. So if you have a seller and they're selling their property in Nassau County, they're not part of New York City, so they're in Nassau County. That seller is only going to pay $3,600 at the closing for the transfer tax. Okay. But now, if the seller is in Queens, that person is going to pay for New York City and New York State. So for New York City, he's going to pay 1.425, which is $12,000, and he's going to pay that point 0.4 that we mentioned earlier for of $3,600. So collectively, it's going to be 1.825. And what's that amount? $16,000. So you guys be the judge now. So let's say you have a seller, he wants to sell that property. At the closing table, that nobody mentioned anything about the transfer tax. All of a sudden, he has to pay $16,000 extra at the closing table. You think he's going to be upset at you or not? Okay. There's a good chance that he will be upset because he was not aware of these. So when you want to have this conversation, all the way in the beginning, when you're about to list the property, you want to tell them, hey, this is the cost you cannot run away from, right? This is the tax that you have to pay to the city and to the state. So let's make it clear that, hey, you're in New York City here, so you have to pay the state and city. If you ask for the breakdown, it's zero point 0.4 for the state, 1.425 for the city. Okay. So if the person is in Nassau, $3,600, you might say, hey, it's not a big deal. But now if it's $16,000, it's a huge deal. Okay. So when are you going to mention this? Yeah, so Sclaren, that's a good point. Some people do feel like, this is going to be included in the closing cost, and some people believe that the buyer is going to pay that, right? We had a deal done where the buyer had to pay this because the seller's attorney was, used, I don't know how trickery was it, but they used a line on like one of the last pages where it says, the buyer is liable for the transfer tax, and the buyer's attorney missed that, and it cost them $9,000 at the closing table. Okay. So the seller should pay this, but if you're a buyer's attorney, your buyer's agent, sorry, the buyer's attorney should definitely review the contract and make it clear who's paying that. And maybe you should bring that up as a realtor, right? Hey, who's paying the transfer tax? I know the seller should, but I want to make sure in this transaction, is the seller actually paying that or not? That 2-minute conversation can save your client thousands of dollars. Okay. Yes, if gonna be for the state here, I mean, if they're gonna be in New York City and any of the five boroughs, they have to pay both, not just 1.4. They have to pay point 0.4 and 1.4, collectively 1.825. Just want to make sure that everybody has this piece right. Okay. And when are we having this conversation? When we're about to get that listing, right? The number one concern that the seller has, hey, how much money I'm going to take away at the closing table. So you as a realtor should give them a full breakdown. We have that part of our presentation as a listing presentation. So when we're going through that sheet, we're telling them that, hey, let's list it for $900,000, right? I don't know if this is going to be the selling price or not, but let's list it for $900,000. My next question is to Mr. Seller is that, hey, what is your loan balance right now? And let's say he says, hey, I received my last statement and it shows that, I have to pay around $350,000, right? That is not the final payout amount, right? That payoff amount will be judged when the closing time comes. We just want to get a rough number. So he says, hey, around 350, you put down 350. Then you tell them, hey, I'm going to break down the transfer tax for you. You have to pay that. And you mention exactly what we just did here. Okay. And we came up with $16,000. So you put $16,000 here. Okay. And then you tell them, hey, for your agent fees, they're broken down by the listing agent, which is me. I'm going to be representing you. And we want to make sure that the selling agent, which is going to be your buyer's agent, they get paid from this as well. So let's say you guys agree on 4% total, two goes to you, two goes to the buyer side. Okay. Then you have your attorney fees, which is around $1,500 on average, give or take. Okay. And there's going to be other liens that you're not aware of. Let's say they had another mortgage, they had another lien on the property. If they're aware of it, ask them. And they will say, hey, yes, I do owe, $20,000 for this or $30,000 for the taxes or whatever their case might be. Once you take that, you're going to take that $900,000 and you're going to subtract everything else you put down. So $900,000 minus 350, 16, 18, 18, 1,500. So when you minus all of that, you should be left with not 496. Okay. So this way, at the closing table, your seller is going to be walking away with around $500,000. There should be no surprises to them. And like I said, the biggest piece that they miss out, most listing agents miss out because they get scared is because of their transfer tax. Right? They feel like, hey, I might not get this listing if I'm being too honest. But I feel the other way around. They're gonna go through this anyways. If they find out on the last minute or if they find out from the attorney, they're gonna look as a negative on your side. You never mentioned that. So mention these things, disclose it, and you should get that listing. Any questions, concerns on this, guys? Okay. All right, guys. So you as a realtor, what does your day look like as a realtor, right? So I understand that you guys have part-time or full-time jobs, but we know that we have MLS fees coming up, you know? So are you willing to pay those expenses and not get anything in return, right? You have to decide on your own that, hey, is real estate really for me, right? If you really stay active, if you really follow the rules, and if you really know your systems and you're good with your clients, you can make a good living out of this. But it's really hard for everyone to be successful as a realtor just because they can't focus. So this is a day in the life of a realtor, a successful one, and this is what you should be doing. Hopefully you guys can follow some of this. So in the morning, you should check your emails, you should check your text messages and return any missed calls or voicemails, right? Next is going to be your reviewing your KV core. You have your clients, you have your leads in there. Doesn't matter what it is. You're starting from the top, making sure that you can send them a property or two for the day. If there's a new property for that client, text them. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing in KV Core. Move on to the next person, do the same exact thing. Okay, you're going to keep texting these clients new properties. In midday, you want to make sure that you're showing these properties, right? So if you send someone, if you have a client that's really ready to go and you send them something in the morning, they're going to reply back, hey, let's see this today, let's see this tomorrow. They're pretty proactive on that note. So you want to make sure that your day actually has showings, that day you're going to actually be showing properties to your clients. When you're doing that, you're also networking, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Okay. In the afternoon, you want to make sure that if you already shown the property, you're doing comps for that client and you want to put in the offers, right? Once you put in the offer, you want to follow up with the listing agent, simply acknowledging your email. Some of these guys say, hey, I never received your email, never received your offer, and you guys are waiting. Hey, it's been 2 days and I never received any reply. After you put in the offer, follow up with the listing agent. Hey, Mr. Listing Agent, I already sent you an offer. Please let me know once your owner, actually the seller, actually reviews it with you. Okay. You also want to review new properties that's on the market. We mentioned that you're following up with your clients. That's great. But you want to go into KV Core, go to listings, and just type in an area that you want to see for new properties there. So become an expert at that. Okay. And when you're meeting with your clients, you really need to understand their needs, what they really, really need right now. Do they need to, downgrade a house or upgrade a house? Whatever their goals are, really find out. Now the schools are opening. People who already have kids that's going to school, it's going to be harder for them to decide to move right now. So understand that. Hey, it's perfectly fine. I know you're not going to be ready right now, but I'm going to keep sending you a property to here and there, and you tell me if you like it, right? So this way we know how the market is performing. Now, let's say you have no showings, you have no properties to look at. There's always open houses, right? You should go to open houses, especially if you're brand new, just to network. See what the properties actually is listed for. See what you think the price should be. So you have to pretend in the beginning when you have no clients, right? You want to go see these open houses. Nobody's going to stop you. You're a licensed person, you're a licensed realtor, you have your business card. Just show up to any open house. And trust me, no one will say anything to you. Just see the property and tell them, hey, thank you for showing. I'll get back to you. Or I'll bring some clients of mine with me, right? You're having a small talk with these real listing agent. If you're a listing agent, you know the struggle when you host open houses. Sometimes you are there for 2 or 3 hours and only two people show up, and sometimes you have a line, right? Really depends on the property. So just visit open houses with an open heart that, hey, I'm gonna just go take a look at these properties and see what they have to deliver. And you always want to be learning, right? We said, we mentioned we had a separate course for Chat GPT, right? That's one of the softwares that almost every kid is using right now. I guarantee you that you're going to be using it in a year or two for sure. But why not get that head start and start using that software now? Ask any questions there, or if you want to just Google different, things to learn about uh, on a real estate side. You want to stay connected, right? There's plenty of YouTube channels where they teach you about different programs and all that. Learn that. If you want to become an expert in real estate, really learn the terms and everything has to do with real estate. Okay. So as a realtor, you should always have this on your mind. Hey, how many deals do I have under contract? How many deals will I close this month? How many deals will I close next month? And how can I increase my database? Right? You have your KV core and people there, and it's been a month and it never increased. You need to increase it. You're not going to close any deals, or you have less chance of closing, any deals when you have only certain amount of people, right? So how can we increase your database? There's different tools out there, but I highly recommend that everybody has OpCity and everybody uses OpCity, right? So here are some negative things I hear about OpCity first. One is that, hey, they're charging too much. They're charging 38% for my commission. That's huge. So yes, I understand that, right? Or I'm not getting it. My phone is not even ringing. Like, hey, I signed up, when I joined you guys, and now I haven't received any leads. It's been 6 months. I haven't received any leads. Those are the two top concerns for Opcity. So let's talk about the first one was your 38%. Is it really worth 38%? I truly think so, especially when you're not closing any deals or you're closing very little deals, right? If you're closing on your own 4 deals in a year, and if Opcity can help you close 6 deals and bring in another eight to $10,000 in profit, is it really not worth it? Right? Some of you guys keep thinking that, hey, I have to give something, but you guys are forgetting that you're getting paid because of Opcity. That particular lead would have never came to you, or you would never had it in your KV core system, or you never showed them had Opcity never provided that lead. Okay. We have seen huge checks that's coming in from Opcity deals, but some of you guys feel like, hey, Opcity is not it. Opcity, just like Zillow, is not a website that's just for clients. Realtor.com is. And Realtor.com does huge advertisements. So there's plenty of people, millions of people that go to Realtor.com on monthly basis. So we highly recommend that you stick with Opcity. There's nothing to lose. Okay. If you keep thinking about that 38% going towards them, hey, I'm only taking out of that $10,000 deal commission, I'm only taking $4,000 after all the expenses. Is that $4,000 really worth it? You decide that. Okay. I don't care if you're expert in this. If you're not closing a lot of deals, you should have Opcity open. And the second part was that, hey, I'm not getting any leads anymore. My app is not working, or they just not providing any leads. You have to contact them, right? They have thousands of these agents, and everyone is using one same app, right? They have their own algorithm there. So if you're not performing, let's say you say, hey, I want to get back to you, and you haven't, if you haven't updated the system, and they have the algorithm, and they will decrease those leads. They will send more new leads to the agents that's really active, right? Because Opcity wants to get paid as well, that 38%. So they're not gonna keep sending you leads when you're not even taking any action on that. Opcity has one rule that you have to update whatever leads that they give you at least once a week, telling them what's going on with that, client. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You're already checking those in KV Core and making sure you're sending them properties. So you can just update the status in Opcity literally within minutes. Okay. So if you need any help with Opcity, contact them for support. The goal here is that you guys can close more deals through Opcity. There's nothing to lose, guys. Okay, stop dwelling that, hey, I'm gonna pay 38% to them, and start thinking how much money I'm gonna make because of Opcity. Okay. Any questions, concerns, guys? And just always remember, if you want to do more closings, have more closing, you have to be showing. Showing equals closing. If you're not showing, you're not closing. Nobody's gonna knock on your door. Nobody's gonna send you a message and say, Sclera and Miranda, hey, show me properties. We have to be proactive, right? If Hassan is checking his KV core in the morning, sending them messages, when he comes to the office, he's following up with his clients and he's trying to schedule showing, guarantee you there will be results, right? If we're just gonna sit there and not be proactive, we're not going to see any action happen, right? And once you guys get the gist of it, especially for if you haven't closed a deal yet, once you close 1 or 2 deals, then you know it's gonna be on repeat. Then you get that gist of like, hey, I want to keep showing. I want to keep showing. The key is showing. If you haven't shown anyone last week, make it your goal that, hey, out of my database, I want to make sure that I have 1 or 2 clients that I'm gonna show this week or this weekend for sure. Okay, set your goal, guys. Okay. And for training sessions, we have it every Thursday now at 10 o'clock. So instead of these slideshows that we're going through, we just pick one of the systems, KV Core, Dot Loop, and we go in depth with that, right? So, tomorrow we have a meeting as well at 10 o'clock. It's just for 30 minutes. It's really quick, 20 to 30 minutes, just one topic. So if you really want to learn about that, join those. It's going to be hosted by myself or one of the team leaders here. Okay. Any topics? Any? This is open discussion. So we have our tabs open, and you guys decide that, hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Oh, I need help with this or that. We try to resolve those. Okay, so please do attend those if you need any help. It's not required, but we highly recommend it if you want to go in depth. Okay. Our loan officers are trying to connect with you guys much as possible, so build a relationship with them as well. I forgot to add the updated slide here. Mr. Hassan Raza here. He's also a loan officer here, so his information will be here as well. But all these loan officers, when they have a Zillow lead, they're contacting you as well. Okay, if you're advertising on Zillow and that Zillow lead comes to these loan officers, they're connecting with you. So build a relationship, talk to them about anything that you have, anything related with mortgages. If you need any help with understanding what is a FHA conventional, what is a DSCR loan, different types of loan, different programs, talk to these loan officers and build relationships, guys. Okay. And we do want to thank the people that showed up to the tent event that we had at the Smoky Park last weekend, right? This past weekend here. It's all about networking. When we set up, this was our first time setting up the tent, and we went with zero expectations, right? I had no idea how many people will come up, how many flyers we'll be able to, give out, or the brand awareness. And we were blown away, with the amount of people that showed up, with the amount of flyers that we gave out, and we gave out food. Everything was very smooth and easy going. So we encourage that you guys come in to the next event that we'll schedule. And when you're coming in, you could be coming in for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and you can serve food with us and just network. Once you have your name out there, you have your business card out there, you never know when you're going to convert, right? So we do a lot of online advertisement, but I feel like we have to start networking through these tent events that comes up. So next time you see something like this, please do come join. Okay. All right, guys. That will do it from my end. You guys tell me any questions, concerns, anything in your mind that we can help you guys improve, or you can help us improve as a company. Yes, sir. Yep. Sure. Sure. Anything. Sure. Sure. So when you're going there, right, when you're networking, like let's say your auction's at 2 o'clock, so you want to go there maybe a little bit earlier, and this is when you're networking, and you want to try to find the referee that's there for that property, right? The referee may be able to give you more information, may not be able to give you more information, right? That is the risk that your investor is taking. Majority of the time, right? Like you mentioned, majority of the time, all the liens should be cleared up. But if anything is left, they will disclose that, but you can talk to the referee. Yeah, auction.com. Sorry, it's gonna be. I mean, even at the auctions, right? Even at the a regular auction that you go to the court, auction.com, their representative are there too. There's few property that they want to sell through that route. But if you see on auction.com, you can contact auction.com, but I highly doubt that they'll give you any more information. It's one of those disclaimers that they have in there. It's just one of those. So like I said, it's gonna be really hard to find out. Yeah. I'm sorry, you were breaking up. What was that? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, it upsets everything. Yeah. Let's say you just thought that, hey, it's gonna be a $60,000 profit, or $80,000 profit, or $100,000 profit, whatever the number is. Obviously, if there's another lien that was not cleared for some reason, it will definitely affect it, right? Yeah, I mean, title insurance, they will give you the title insurance only if there's no title issues. If the title is clear, then they will give you title insurance. Yeah, that's the opposite. Correct. Yep. So auction.com, yeah, I wouldn't like I said in the beginning, like auction.com, it will have its own disclaimers and all that, right? But majority of these auctions properties in general should clear all the liens, mechanical liens, the second liens, the tax liens, and the whole purpose for that property to be at the auction because of its liens, right? If there was no liens, it would have already, been with the seller, with the owner. So now is at the auction, all those should be cleared, but you just want to disclaim that same thing because you don't want your client to coming back to you. Just tell them, hey, majority of the time there's no liens left, but if there is, you just can't come back to me and say, hey, I didn't disclose that to you. That should be, the risk for the investor. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, but I wouldn't be too concerned though. I wouldn't be too just as long as you disclose it and they're aware of it. Investors they already know the game, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that because the lien should be cleared at the auction. All right, all right, guys, no problem. All right, guys. Any other questions, concerns before we get going, guys? Any feedback is greatly appreciated. Anything on your mind to help us grow or help you grow as well. All right, guys. All right. So we'll leave it at that. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for joining, right? Thank you so much. Take care, guys.